Jose Ramirez, who will be fighting Jose Pedraza, former two-weight world champion, live from the Save Mart Center in Avenal. Jose's from Avenal, live from the Save Mart Center in Fresno, California. That, again, will be on ESPN+, but we have a very exciting card there. The man pictured on your screen, as you can see, the professional debut of Tokyo Olympian Richard Torres Jr., who comes from Tulare, California. And if I butcher the pronunciation, Richard, my apologies. Tulare is also a Central Valley town. So much like Jose, he proudly represents his people in the Central Valley of California. Also on that card and also joining us on the call, former two-time featherweight title challenger, Joet Gonzalez, coming off his valiant performance against Emmanuel Navarrete. He will be facing Gio Santissima in the co-feature, and this is his top-ranked debut, having just recently signed with Top Rank. So we're all very excited to have Joet on the card as well. Also on the undercard, which will also be on ESPN+, Antonio Morales, Charlie Sheehy, and many, many more. Carlos Balderas, another Central Valley Olympian. He was a 2016 Olympian. Jose Ramirez, 2012. Richard Torres, 2020 Olympian. So again, stacked card here from Fresno, California. Again, all on ESPN+. You guys cannot record, but I will send out a recording of this call upon its conclusion, and you'll all be able to use it on your respective channels. Cut and paste it however you'd like. So feel free to use it, and I will send that out immediately after the call. So now that we have all of the particulars out of the way, we go live to Richard Torres, who is 20 minutes away from missing a college class. So we want to keep him. We don't want to keep him too long. So Richard, after the Olympics, you're being courted by all of the promoters. I did a big whirlwind tour, and now the professional debut is finally here. Could you put into words what it's like now that you are, well, let's say 9 days away from making that long-awaited pro debut?
I mean, in a way, it's surreal, but on the other end, I've been training so hard for this moment today. For this moment in next Friday. I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to show the world what I have, not only on the amateur side, but now on the pro side.
And what's been the biggest adjustment for you training as an amateur? Now there's bigger stakes on the line here. You're in the pro game. I mean, what have you adjusted? What have you changed? Obviously since that intense training camp you had leading up to Tokyo.
I mean, we've lengthened it out a little bit. We've gone longer rounds. We're trying to be able to throw a little harder now too. But ultimately, I'm still the same me. I think my style will translate really well from the amateurs to the pros, and I think I'll be able to do a lot of the same things in the professional game. And I think that's one of the benefits that I was able to show in the Olympics. It was able to see how well my style could translate, and I think we'll do well.
Okay, so everybody, you know the deal. If you want to ask a question for Richard, use the raise hand function in the Zoom chat. If you do not know how to use raise hand, as I see Carlos Torres does not because he just messaged me to ask a question, you can message me. You can message me in the Zoom chat. So Carlos, even though you do not know how to raise your hand, I'm going to allow you to have the first question. Carlos, please unmute yourself and go ahead when ready, sir.
Thanks, Evan. And I don't have the raise hand feature, so which is why I can ask. First of all, Richard, thanks so much for taking time to talk to us. Obviously, coming out with the momentum that you've had with the Olympics and everything, now you're in full swing as a pro. Does the anticipation for a fight mentally, does it change? Even if it's, even obviously with, no headgear or with the style, or does it change anything, I guess, the excitement levels when it comes to fighting as a pro heading into it?
I think the biggest change that I've had over the recent years is I've had to fight overseas. I had to fight in the United States in about 5 years. And so to be able to fight in front of my family, in front of my friends, in front of my town, in front of all the people that supported me, that's something that I'm really excited to see, and there are some nerves behind that, of course, but they're good nerves. If I wasn't nervous, I don't think I'd care as much. So I'm happy to be nervous. I'm happy to go in here full force and ready.
Last question, Richard. Obviously, what about Top Rank made you sort of want to sign with them to start out as a pro?
Top Rank breeds legends, from Muhammad Ali all the way down to, the people we have now. I really firmly believe that Top Rank has the platform to build a fighter and to make him a legend. And I want to be that one day. I want to be a household name.
Okay, well, next, Carlos, thank you very much. Next, we will find the raise hand button, get the Zoom update. Maybe we can find that for you, buddy. But it's only fitting that we're fighting in the 559. Richard, did I get your area code right? 559, yep. Correct?
You got it.
Nice. It's only fitting that we go to someone from the 559, Mike Rueda. Mike, please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Thank you, Evan. And what's up, Richard? How you doing, man? All right. So first question, man. Obviously, this is your pro debut. You've been in there with, your gold medal match was against someone who was already a pro. Do you think that's going to help you, transition more to the pro game as opposed to other fighters who might have, a few fights where they have to get used to it?
I think overall, my entire amateur experience is going to help me a lot in going to the pros, especially the elite amateur experience. It's rare to see back in the day anybody fight without a headgear on. I've done so. I fought on the largest stages, the amateur division, and I do think that does console me a little bit going into the ring here. I fought the best the world had to offer, and I'm still standing, and I'm excited to show what I can do in the pros now.
Definitely. And then second question, obviously being at home, being your debut, most fighters, never say, oh, I want this or I want that, but how much sweeter would it be for you to get like a major knockout in your first fight, especially at home?
I've knocked out people before, I've done that. And what really impresses me and what really amazes me is the skill level of boxer tap, being slick, movement, hands up, defense. And so I'm really trying to show off that. I'm really trying to show all my improvements I've had since the Olympics and continue going forward. If the knockout happens, it happens, and so be it. But I'm looking to show my boxing ability.
Thank you, man. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. And just a heads up, there's somebody on here trying to raise their hand who has the name iPad on their username. I do not know who iPad is, so make sure if your thing says iPad, please change it to your actual name so I know who you are. Next, we go to, again, another person, Boxing World Weekly. So introduce yourself, unmute yourself, and go ahead when ready.
Hi, co-Weston guys. Thank you. Richard, I just want to say, as an Olympian specifically, making your pro debut on such a big card in Ramirez Pedraza, is there added pressure with that?
I mean, I'm always going to say there's a little added pressure, but, pressure breeds diamonds, pressure makes diamonds, I guess. And I'm ready for it. There was pressure going into the Olympics. There was pressure going to my national tournament to qualify for the Olympics. There was pressure going into almost every fight I've had. And I think this definitely adds a little more to it, but it's something that I've dealt with my entire life and I'm ready for it.
You mentioned how excited you were to come back and fight in front of a family and friends and all that. And it's been, a very long time since that happened. And a lot has happened since then for you and the entire world. So what else will it mean for you when it comes to fight night?
My dad wasn't able to watch me live in the Olympics, and now he'll be in the corner. He's my inspiration. He's the reason I got into boxing. He's the reason I started. He's the reason I do any of this. And to have my dad beside me and to be able to fight not only with him, but with my entire town that had been so supportive this entire time, I can't wait. I really can't. I really want to show everybody like that all support and appreciation they had is not going to go to waste.
That's awesome. Good luck, man.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cole. Let's see. Next, we got a couple more. Okay, I assume from Ireland, we are going to go to Jim Conlon. We got a few more questions for Richard, and then we've got Joet waiting patiently on the line, so we'll get to him. Jim Conlon, please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Hi, Richard. Richard, in terms of preparation for the fight, what sort of sparring partners have you got in terms of this first fight, and what do you know about your opponent?
So I've been sparring. I've been traveling to LA, sparring numerous people, as well as I've gotten a couple of sparring partners in from Utah, and I've been going hard. We've been going 6 to 8 to 10 rounds, depending on the given day my coach has. What I know about my opponent is kind of like what I knew about my opponents in the amateur game. Not much, but I'm going in there ready to fight a world champion, and so I'm gonna go in there with that attitude and that mindset, and it's gonna be a fight to remember.
And Richard, what is your plan in terms of 2022? In terms of, do you plan to be active throughout the year? Do you plan to get maybe 8, 9, 10 professional fights under your belt before the end of the year?
Well, the more the merrier. You know, as God willing, whenever I get in the ring, whenever I get out, I'm ready to fight again. You know, hopefully with Top Rank and everything that's going on, we can do so. And yeah, I'm ready to fight. I'm eager.
And I think nobody will have to worry, Richard. I think soon after his pro debut, there will be news on his second professional fight. So Richard Torres will be very, very active on many platforms. A couple more questions, then we'll get to Joet. Salvador, iPhone to Salvador, please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
Shava, good to see you. Go ahead, Shava.
Yeah, I'm Salvador. Richard, I just read some posts of your father about the Mexican blood. I am from Zacatecas too, you know. But
Awesome.
Can you tell me something about your Mexican blood, please?
Yeah, so my great grandparents traveled here for farming. My great grandpa was from Zacatecas, and then if I butcher the name, I'm sorry. And then my great grandma was from Fresno. And I mean, I say I have the body of American, but the body of American, the heart of a champion, and the blood of I'm sorry. I say I have the body of an American, the heart of a Mexican, and the blood of a champion. And I stand by that. You know, I'm extremely proud of my Mexican heritage, and I live it through, and I live it every day. You know, my dad's a full Mexican. I'm half Mexican, and I really think I embody that Mexican style in the ring, and I'm forever grateful for what it's given me.
Absolutely, absolutely. And do you feel some kind of pressure? You know how important is the heavyweight division in boxing in general, Olympic and professional. But do you feel some pressure after that you make the podium in the Tokyo?
Obviously, there's a little bit of pressure, but again, I think that's why I love boxing so much. You know, because there is something to lose, there is something to gain, and there's always that what if something happens, you know. And that's one of the reasons I love boxing, because you never know what's going to happen, really. And so that's why I'm preparing so hard to do the best I can, and to show the world that I'm here to stay, that a Mexican American is going to be here to stay.
Well, thank you so much, and just the best for you, Richard.
Thank you.
Thank you, Salvador. One more question for Richard, because I know this one also comes from the 559. Derek Van Vleck. Derek, please unmute yourself, ask your question, and let's go ahead.
Great. Thanks for having me on. Richard, some would say you would already had your pro debut with your couple of bouts with Jalala. Do you look forward to, in the future, maybe seeing him again in the ring? And how does it feel to have your dad with you full-time training?
I 100% am looking forward to that fight again down in the future. And I think having my dad is like having a cheat code. You know, he knows me better than anybody knows anybody else. He knows what to say, exactly what to say. No discredit to any of my Olympic coaches. You know, they're great coaches. Billy Walsh, everybody. I loved my experience there, but there's nothing like having my dad in my corner. You know, there's nothing like having someone that knows me my entire life. And for him to be there is one of the main reasons I turned pro, actually, for him to be in my corner.
Thank you very much, Derek. So we got Joet on the line, so we're going to go run. But Richard, any final thoughts as you head to? Well, first tell everybody what class you're going to, and then any final thoughts as we head to fight week.
Yeah, I'm going to my tap dance class. I'm taking 5 classes right now. I'm taking a Spanish class, a personal finance class, 2 dance classes, and then a philosophy class. And I just want to say that a big reason I box, and I was thinking about this on the way over, is everyone always, I box because I love it, but I also box so I can see the world and for the world to see me. And I think that's a great opportunity that's going to happen in Fresno. You know, I got to travel to 14 different countries, all because of USA Boxing, and I was able to see the world. And now it's time for the world to see me, and the world to see what Tulare had to offer and the Central Valley has to offer. And I'm really excited for that to happen. So thank you for giving me that opportunity.
Well, Richard, everybody's looking forward to seeing you. And just his fight, Richard Torres Jr.'s fight, will be directly before the Jose Ramirez fight. So he'll be right before Jose. All the fans from Tulare will be down in their seats. And it'll be on right before Jose Ramirez. So it'll be the biggest possible audience to see this young Olympic silver medalist, make his pro debut. Richard, thank you so much for joining us today, and go get to class. All right, buddy?
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Have a good one.
Thank you, Richard. And next, we move on to a guy that everybody is very, very familiar with. He is a two-time title challenger at featherweight, gave valiant efforts against Shakur Stevenson and I was about to say Oscar Valdez, and Emmanuel Navarrete most recently for the WBO title. He recently signed a long-term promotional contract with Top Rank. Us at Top Rank, we feel like Joet Gonzalez has been a Top Rank fighter because his last 3 fights have come on Top Rank cards, twice in the bubble, and then last October against Navarrete, in which he put forth, which him and Navarrete put forth one of the very best fights of 2021, a fight of the year contender. So now joining us from Southern California, I presume, Joet Gonzalez. Joet, how you doing? How you doing today, Joet?
Doing good, Jeff. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. I mentioned something. You know, you you fought 3 times on Top Rank cards, and now you're finally signed to Top Rank. I've joked with your manager Frank Espinoza that you've been sort of an honorary Top Rank fighter these last few years. How does it feel to finally get the ink dry and start a new chapter here in your professional career and to be on a co-feature in Fresno, California?
I'm excited. Like you said, you know, I fought 3 straight times with Top Rank. You know, it feels like, you know, my home pretty much now, officially. I've been there, and I'm just ready to go. I'm training really hard, and I'm ready for March 4th.
You know, obviously, your second title shot was a different sort of fight than your first one. Against a style with Navarrete is probably more suited to your kind of style, just it's sort of like peanut butter and jelly. What did you learn from that Navarrete fight? You know, and how much more hunger do you have now knowing that you got that much closer to getting that world title?
You know, it was just a tough fight. You always learn little things, you know, about different opponents. But like I said, I just got to grow from this loss. I'm still very motivated. If I wasn't motivated, you know, a lot of fighters in my position, you know, getting 2 world title opportunities and obviously coming up short, they would have quitted by now. And I'm still here. I'm still training hard. I'm literally back in it. My last fight was in October. I was going to fight in February. Got postponed to March 4th. So I'm very motivated. I'm still hungry, and I'm still working hard for that world title shot.
And as usual, guys, again, raise hand function on your Zoom, or you could send me a direct message in the chat if you do not have the raise hand function, as Toro does not. We are going to start with Salvador from ESPN Deportes. Salvador, nope, he just left. So hold on 1 second. Cole from Boxing World, please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Hi, Joet. Nice to meet you. First of all, you and your opponent have fought Navarrete. Is getting a rematch with him on your radar?
Oh, most definitely, man. Most definitely. But, you know, I don't like to call out fighters. You know, obviously I came up short. It was a good fight. I have to earn my shot again. You know, this is the first step. You know, beating this guy. I think Navarrete stopped him in 11 or 12 rounds when they fought. And obviously we're fighting 10, so I got to stop him in 10 or less. I gotta show a statement on my Top Rank debut.
Glad to hear it. And is there any thought amongst you about moving up in a division?
Of course, yeah. You know, I would like to move up, but honestly, I won a world title at 126. Hopefully, you know, if I can get another champion at 126 real quick, you know, try to unify and then go up to 130.
Thank you very much, Cole. Next, it looks like Salvador is back. So, Salvador, please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Yeah. I'm back. Hello, Joet. How are you?
How's it going, Salvador? Doing good.
Great, my friend. You know, do you feel that this is the first time that you are fighting in Top Rank, like the A side? You know, it's the A side, B side. Do you feel that this is the first time that fighting like the A side? And, you know, the goal will be maintain that position, right?
Yeah, that's the goal. And I do feel that way. You know, finally I'm on the A side. I fought 3 straight times. You know, obviously that's coming in as the opponent from another promoter. But now I'm finally with Top Rank as the A side. And obviously the plan is to stay the A side.
Absolutely. And how do you see the division? Do you have any special name on mind, or any champion that gives you the chance?
Any champion that gives me the chance, but honestly, Navarrete is with Top Rank. I'm with Top Rank now. I have a loss against him, so I would like to avenge my loss. So if I can get him, that's great. If not, any champion that's willing to give me a shot, and I'll take.
Okay. Thank you, Joet. Saludos.
Thank you very much, Salvador. Got a lot of questions and limited time, so we'll get to as many as we possibly can. Abraham Gonzalez, please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Hey, Joet, you hear me?
How's it going, Abraham?
Okay. All right. Hey, Joet, nice to see you again. It's been a minute. Looking back, I've followed you the last couple of years, especially in the LA boxing scene. Looking back at how your career has progressed up to now, do you feel, are you content with how things have gone, or do you feel like maybe you could have done, one or two things differently on the way up?
I'm happy with the position I'm at. Obviously, I could do a couple things different, during the fights, obviously, training camp a little bit, but it's boxing. You learn as you go. You never stop learning in the sport, and I just got to grow from it.
And speaking of learning, you've had two very different championship fights, but they were hard in their own respective category. Looking back at those two specific fights and using that information to move forward, what do you think you got out of that experience fighting those champions, and how will that help you in the future?
It'll help me a lot. Obviously the first fight and second world title were two different opponents, different styles. Obviously my mentality was different, obviously going through the first one and going to the second one. But I learned from it. First one, I might have overtrained. I trained really hard for that fight, no excuses, but I just probably trained a little too much. Second time, I was confident. I trained really hard as well, but I, gave my body some time to rest and recovered and sparred the way I was supposed to spar. But, unfortunately, it came up short both times. Just got to grow from it, work hard, and make some adjustments.
Thank you very much, Abe. Next, we're going to go to Carlos Toro. Carlos, please go ahead.
Thanks, Joet, for taking time to talk to us. Really appreciate it. You mentioned earlier when you first came on about how some fighters in your position coming off a second title loss would just hang their gloves and just call it a day. And obviously you're not, and you're still very motivated. But after that loss, was it harder or easier to sort of pick yourself right back up and sort of get back to work and, moving on, to the next step compared to the first title loss you had against Shakur Stevenson?
Honestly, it was about the same. I just had to give my body some rest. Obviously, because I got cut and stitches and stuff like that. But it was the same motivation was there. Obviously, I fought October 15th, I believe. I was scheduled to go back in February 5th, got postponed. So I was ready to go. I was training, I believe, second week or first week of November again. Stitches were out within 10 days. So I was good to go. I was very motivated, still very hungry. Just had to take it slow. And as soon as that fight day came in, I picked it back up where I left off.
Thanks, Joet. Best of luck in your coming up next week.
Thank you very much, Carlos. Next, we go to Luke Kettle. Luke, hold on. I got to unmute you. If I could figure that out. Yes, now, Luke, please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Okay. What will it take for you to be a world champion, and what are we going to see in this fight that kind of shows the way of you being a future world champion?
You know what, man? I can't really say that I have to train hard. Every fighter trains hard. The champions train hard to stay where they're at. I just got to be a better fighter that day. Picking the right sparring partners. Peaking at the right time, and just go out there and want it more. That's pretty much it.
And we got a few more minutes until Jose Pedraza joins us. But Joet, I mean, you know, you've had one title shot in Reno, another one right down the road from Southern California in San Diego. How excited are you to make your return? You know, basically a 3-4 hour drive away from all your family and friends in Glendora. I know this is going to be a Jose Ramirez, Richard Torres Jr., Balderas crowd. But how much Southern California support can we expect going up the I-5 next Friday?
Oh, I mean, I'm very excited. You know, it's in California, like you said, it's only like a 3-4 hour drive. I have a lot of friends in Fresno, people that know me in Fresno since the amateur days. So I got a lot of people going out there, and I'm sure California's going to be out there supporting me.
Now let's see. We got a couple more questions here. Jim Conlon, please unmute yourself.
Hi, Joet. Joet, you mentioned about coming up short twice so far. Have you added anything in terms of your shot selection or worked on any specific punch of yours in training that you feel that can make the difference this time around?
I know every opponent is different. You know, like obviously I fought a little different both times. All the opponents are differently, but I'm just, like I said, I'm working with. I'm sparring a little bit more outside of my gym. Like I for this fight, I was sparring Leo Santa Cruz. I went to Benavides this camp, get some sparring there. I even went to go help Chocolatito, even though he's a smaller guy, he's very experienced and, you know, he's elusive and he keeps, you know, punches and bunches coming at you. So I spar different guys, and I think I'm more than ready for this fight.
And Joet, finally for me, I suppose coming back looking for that third world title shot, I suppose it shows that the drive and the hunger is still there, and you must be very hungry to grasp that, to say that you're going to give it one more. Is it one more sort of real all hands onto the deck sort of approach?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm very motivated. I'm still going hard. I'm still trying to get that another world title shot and become a world champion. And honestly, I'm going to keep going till, you know, it's time to retire. Till my body says no more. I've been doing this since I was 10 years old. This is my life. This is my passion. It's more than just a sport to me. And if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, that's fine. I'm still going to continue fighting the very best.
Well, it's time. Jose Pedraza just joined the call. And Joet, before you go, any last final thoughts you'd like to relay as we approach fight week?
No, just thank you guys for the support. Thank you guys for, you know, staying updated with my career. And I'll see you guys in Fresno March 4th.
So again, that is Joet Gonzalez, the co-feature to Jose Ramirez, Jose Pedraza, Save Mart Center, Friday, March 4th, live and exclusively on ESPN+. And against J.O. Santissima, tough Filipino, former world title challenger. Joet, thank you very much, and we will see you next week.
Thank you, Jeff.
And listen, everybody, joining us on the line, we have the the two-weight world champion, former junior lightweight world champion, former lightweight champion of the world, Jose Pedraza. And before we start with Jose, Gardy Lopez will be translating for Jose Pedraza. So if you are asking a question in English, please give Gardy time to translate. If you're asking a question in Spanish, again, please let Gardy time to translate back to English. So without further ado, we're introducing from Cedro, Puerto Rico, one of the great champions from his island, Jose Pedraza. Jose, you know, you've waited for an opportunity like this for a long time, ever since the Julian Rodriguez victory last June. While this is not a world title fight, the winner is in great position to fight for a title next. Just how excited are you for this opportunity against a former champion of Jose Ramirez's caliber?
José, que llevas pensando desde como una oportunidad como esta, desde la pelea que tuviste en junio con Hammerhands, ¿cómo te sientes de una pelea tan importante que, a pesar de que no es una pelea por el título mundial, sí el ganador estará en buena posición para ir por el título mundial?
Sí, saludos. Primero que todo, para mí es una gran oportunidad, ya que pues voy a pelear con uno de los mejores de la división, que para mí en esta pelea voy a pelear y pienso que él es el campeón de la división, así que de ganar le estoy ganando al campeón, así que es un gran reto y una gran oportunidad.
As you mentioned, this is a great opportunity. I'm coming into this fight seeing Ramirez as the champion. I feel like this is a world championship fight. So I'm, giving my all and leave it all in the ring just to come out victorious. Because, like I mentioned, I consider Ramirez to be. I see him as a champion.
And everybody, once again, if you'd like to ask a question, please use the raise hand function or send me a direct message on the chat. And again, everybody, you need to get as good of a Zoom background as Jose Pedraza, because that is the best one I have ever seen. So again, raise hand button or send me a private message. And please ask if you want to ask a question, message me directly. Do not message the entire group. Thank you. First, we go to Salvador from ESPN Deportes. Salvador, please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Ok. Hola, José, ¿cómo estás? Un placer saludarte.
Saludos.
Oye, José, bien lo dices, esta pelea básicamente es un pasaje, ¿no? A la pelea de campeonato del mundo. Platícame, ¿cómo crees encontrar a José Ramírez después de que, bueno, pues tuvo una derrota dura en esa pelea unificatoria contra Josh Taylor?
Mira, sí,
déjame traducir la pregunta primero.
Okay. Sí, seguro.
The question is, how do you think you will find Jose Ramirez in the ring after a tough loss against Taylor?
Sí, definitivamente. Todas las primeras derrotas o la primera derrota es bien difícil, ¿verdad? Superar. Todo depende de la persona, de la autoestima. Pero yo sé que Ramírez pues va a estar al 100 en todo sentido, físicamente, emocional, mentalmente. Él es un guerrero y de igual manera pues yo tengo pues eso en mente y sé que voy a estar bien preparado para esa pelea contra Ramírez.
Recovering from a tough loss is like I mentioned, very, very tough. But I'm sure that Ramirez has taken the necessary steps to be mentally and physically strong, to be ready to come back to the winning column. Because I have those same thoughts in my head, I have come from losses. I'm here back in the midst of fighting for a world title.
Claro, y segundo y último, José, ¿cómo te sientes? Ya te ha tocado vivir en México, Puerto Rico, pero en esta ocasión te vas y te metes a la cueva del lobo, José. Eso me imagino que te inspira todavía, te hace vibrar un poco más, porque es cierto, el riesgo es alto, pero la recompensa también es inigual, ¿no?
Sí, definitivamente.
Basically, this is a tough fight between Mexico and Puerto Rico, but it's even tougher because you're coming into enemy territory. How do you feel about that? Having a big risk fight, but a biggest reward.
Sí, definitivamente me ha tocado pelear en territorio enemigo. No es la primera vez. Son momentos pues que nos los disfrutamos al 100% cuando tenemos esa victoria. Así que estamos acostumbrados a siempre pelear en el territorio enemigo y eso pues me motiva más de siempre dejar de qué estoy hecho yo, de qué estamos hechos los puertorriqueños. Así que vamos con todo.
This is not the first fight I have fought in enemy territory. I'm used to fighting enemy territory, and that I enjoy fighting fights like this because that way I can show what Puerto Ricans are made of, what I'm made of, and I enjoy the wins even more.
Muchas gracias. Un abrazo, José.
Thank you very much, Salvador.
Igual.
All right. So next we got here. Next, Mike. Well, we should go back to Fresno, 559. Mike Rueda. Mike, please go ahead.
Thank you, Evan. José, en esta pelea, como has dicho, has peleado en el territorio enemigo, pero has mirado las peleas de José Ramírez en tele, que no ha peleado aquí en Fresno, y si has mirado eso, has hablado con peleadores o alguien que ha estado en el ring con él por su talento que él tiene, y luego cómo vas a pensar que cuando llegas aquí pues a Fresno, los fanáticos que van por Jose?
Question is, you are fighting, like you mentioned, in enemy territory, but you know, like, have you looked how the crowd gets once every single time that Jose fights in Fresno, and how you are looking to adjust to that, you know, to having the fans be rooting for Jose?
Mira, sí, siempre veo lo necesario de cada boxeador, siempre veo lo bueno, su fortaleza, ¿verdad? En Ramírez, pues pudimos ver su debilidad en su última pelea, pero no me enfoco en su debilidad. Obviamente sí, veo su debilidad para aprovecharnos de eso, pero más me enfoco en sus habilidades y en sus buenas destrezas, que sería lo más complicado, ¿verdad? Y nos enfocamos más en eso. Y también sí, he entrenado con boxeadores con los que él ha hecho sparring y nos ha ido muy bien.
For every single fight, I look at, you know, the strengths from each fighter and the weakness. For Ramirez, we saw the weakness, a lot of weakness last time, but I tend to focus mostly on the good things that the fighter does. And I have also trained with people that have sparred with him before, and I have done very well.
Okay. Y Diego, en tu última pelea con Julian Rodríguez, dominaste la pelea. ¿Crees que eso te dio más confianza en una pelea aquí con el ex campeón mundial Ramírez?
In your last fight against Julian Rodríguez, you dominated the fight. Do you think that gave you more confidence to face someone like Jose Ramirez?
Mira, en esa última pelea con Julián, sabíamos que íbamos a dominar en cuestión de habilidades. Sí, él es un joven muy fuerte, pero mi habilidad y la experiencia sabíamos que le íbamos a dominar. Peleara con él o no, siempre iba a tener la confianza de pelear con Ramírez, porque sé que me preparo el 100% para todos los boxeadores.
In the fight against Rodriguez, I was confident, you know, because of my skill, that I was going to dominate the fight. Even though that Julian was a much younger and stronger fighter, but my skills and experience helped me dominate the fight. And even without fighting Julian, I will fight Ramirez with all the confidence in the world, because I always know that I train 100% and I'm ready for every single fight.
Thank you very much. We go back to Carlos Toro. Carlos, hold on one second. Carlos, please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Thank you, Jose, for taking time to talk to us. You know, you mentioned earlier that you looked a lot at Jose Ramirez's strengths and what he does so well. And I was curious, you know, what in your thoughts, what does Jose Ramirez does so well that makes him, you know, such a formidable fighter and allow him to sort of be the former world champion that he was at 140 pounds?
¿Cómo te sientes de enfrentar a un peleador como Ramírez y piensas que él puede ser el tipo de peleador que fue cuando fue campeón en 140 libras?
Mira, definitivamente me siento mejor en mi división. En esta división ya estoy más adaptado. Jose Ramírez sigue en la división, sigue en la élite. Es un boxeador que domina muy bien la división, así que lo voy a seguir viendo como el dominante en la división, y es un reto que me propuse, ¿verdad? Y es algo que quiero superar.
You know, I see Ramirez as the biggest challenge in the division. I feel like I have adjusted to the 140-pound division way better right now after these last couple of fights. He has been dominating the division for a while, but you know, that's the challenge I'm up to. I want to prove myself that I can do it.
One more question. You mentioned obviously feeling a lot better now at 140 pounds. You're no stranger to fighting at different weight classes and having a lot of success to it. Do you feel that 140 pounds is your optimal weight right now as a fighter, even better than how you felt at 130 and 135?
¿Sientes que la división, ahora que mencionas que estás ajustado bien a las 140 libras, sientes que esa es la mejor división óptima para que tú pelees? y te sientes mejor que en otras ocasiones cuando peleabas en 130 y 135.
Sí, mira, definitivamente son, a comparado con las 130 y 135 libras, son 10 y 5 libras de diferencia. Así que me siento sumamente con la misma agilidad, con la misma condición, pero más fuerte. Me siento más fuerte y más ahora que estoy adaptado a la división. Así que, ¿verdad? Comparado con mi primera pelea en la 140, estoy sumamente adaptado a la división.
I feel way better at 140, you know, like at 130 and 135, you know, those pounds make the difference. Now at 140, in comparison to my first fight at 140, I feel like I have the ability, the agility, the speed, and the same boxing skills. So I feel way better at 140.
Thank you very much, Carlos. Next, we go to Giovanni Vega from El Vocero in Puerto Rico. Giovanni, please unmute yourself and then ask your question.
Claro. Saludos, Pedraza. Quería preguntarte, tuviste ahí un tiempo adicional para prepararte, ¿no? A causa del COVID. ¿Cómo te sientes de esa recuperación?
Mira, pues, Gali.
Question is, you have a little more time to recover because this fight was postponed due to COVID. How do you feel and have you recovered from COVID-19?
Mira, pues me siento muy bien. Gracias a Dios el COVID, pues sí, me dio un poquito, yo diría un poquito duro, ¿verdad? Porque estuvimos varias semana y media, casi 2 semanas sin poder hacer nada, que eso pues nos atrasó en el campamento. Pero logramos recuperarnos muy bien, logramos recuperarnos rápido, así que estoy sumamente en óptimas condiciones.
Thanks to God, I recovered very well from COVID-19. It kind of hit me a little bit hard. You know, there was a week or two that I couldn't do much, but like I mentioned, I have recovered very well, and I'm in optimal condition for this fight.
Okay, let's see. We got a few more. Hector Islas. Hector, please unmute yourself and go ahead. There you go, Hector. Hola, Hector.
¿Qué tal? Hi, Iván. Hola, José. Mi pregunta sería, actualmente, bueno, pues vas por una pelea muy importante con José Carlos Ramírez. Quizá es la primera pelea que tienes en esta nueva división. En cuanto al peso, te sientes más cómodo, pero en cuanto a pegada, ¿cómo te sientes tú? Y pues sabemos que debes de tener un plan A, un plan B. ¿Cuáles serían tus mejores cualidades boxísticas para poderle ganar a un José Carlos Ramírez que va a querer regresar con todo porque quiere los títulos nuevamente que tiene Josh Taylor?
What do you think are the best skills that you have? My bad. What do you feel are the best skills you have to face Ramirez, knowing that he will come with everything because he wants to regain all his titles?
Sí, definitivamente. Como dije anteriormente, estoy bien en la división, más adaptada a la división, con más pegada, como dije anteriormente también. Me siento con más pegada, con más fuerza, más fortaleza físicamente. Pero conociendo, ¿verdad? a Ramírez, la fortaleza no lo es todo. Hay que tener más habilidades para eso, boxísticamente, inteligencia y llevar una buena estrategia y obviamente una buena condición, porque sabemos que José Ramírez es un boxeador, un guerrero y que va para adelante y siempre va en muy buenas condiciones, así que hay que ir bien preparado para lo que venga, para todo.
Like I mentioned, I have come very well prepared for this fight. I feel way better at 140. I feel like I'm stronger. I have the punching power. But, you know, going from what Ramirez does, not everything is power. You know, you have to have more skills to win the fight. And we have seen what had happened to him the last time. You know, you have to have great condition too, because he's in Mexican water and he's going to keep coming and coming. So I'm ready for all that. I have the condition, I feel I have the power at 140. And I have the skills at 140 to win this fight.
una pregunta más. Sabemos que los knockouts llegan solos, pero ¿tú estás preparado para toda la ruta o buscarías definitivamente el knockout en esta guerra que va a ser México-Puerto Rico, que ya pues, son de antaño y dan unas grandes peleas? ¿Qué buscarías tú?
Are you looking for what way to go to get the win? Are you looking for a knockout, or you are ready to go any route to get the victory?
Nosotros vamos a trabajar round por round, vamos a trabajar el round por round lo más limpio posible, de cuestión de que si se va por decisión, pues los rounds sean bien limpios para mí, ¿verdad? Ganarlos limpios, convincente para los jueces, ya que voy a estar peleando en la casa de él, solo yo digo que lo beneficiaría. Así que vamos a trabajar round por round lo más limpio posible. Y como dijiste, si el knockout llega, pues bienvenido sea, nos vamos temprano para casa.
Gracias.
I'm gonna be working round by round. Like I will try to do the fight as clean as possible, so the judges see clearly who's winning the round. And like you mentioned, if the knockouts comes, well, it comes, and we go early home.
Okay, we still have a few more questions here. Hold on one second. Salvador, your hand is still raised. Would you like to ask another question, Salvador, or was your hand just? Yep, Salvador.
Sí. De nuevo. José, ¿qué te han dicho acerca del ganador de esta pelea? ¿Cuál es el futuro para el ganador de esta pelea? Bien lo señalaste y creo que diste en el punto de que es básicamente una pelea de campeonato, pero ¿qué te han dicho? ¿El ganador a qué accedería entonces?
You have mentioned that this is like a world championship fight, but what do you think the winner will fight for? What have the promotion company told you that the winner will have?
Pues realmente lo que se ha hablado es que me acercaría a una pelea titular. Todo depende, ¿verdad? De Taylor, de lo que vaya a hacer Taylor. Si va a subir luego de este sábado, ¿verdad? Si va a subirla a 147, de ser así, para los títulos se quedan vacantes, pues eso me acercaría, ¿verdad? A cualquiera de los títulos, o si se va a quedar en 40, pues darme esa oportunidad de título mundial, ¿verdad? Lo que se me ha dicho es pues, que me acercaría a tener una oportunidad de título mundial, pero hay que esperar por Taylor, de lo que vaya a hacer.
Claro.
What I have heard from the promotion company is that the winner will be closer to a world title opportunity, but everything depends on what happens with Josh Taylor this Saturday. If he goes up, all the titles are going to be vacant, and I can fight for any of them. But if he stays at 140 and I win the fight against Ramirez, well, I will love the opportunity to challenge him for those titles. Y Chava, aclaración, la pelea es una eliminatoria del CMB.
Sí, claro, de acuerdo. And finally for Evan Korn, this is the last fight for Josh Taylor.
Well, the last
fight in 140. The last fight in 140 for Josh Taylor.
Is that a question, or do you know something I don't know?
No. That's a question for you.
that is no. He's Josh has spoken to the Scottish media and the British media. I'm here this week, and he has not committed one way or another to moving up to 47 or 140. He said that making 140 pounds is very easy, and that he could fight the rest of his career at 140 pounds if he wants to. So if he moves up to 147, it would be in search of other opportunities, not because 140 pounds is too difficult to make. They call it 10 stone over here. I think it's 14 pounds is 1 stone. So he's comfortable at 10 stone, Salvador. So should he be successful Saturday night, everything is up in the air, or all options are open, I should say. So
perfect. Thanks so much.
The first time I've ever been asked a question on a Zoom call, Salvador. So thank you for that. I will cherish that moment, my friend. We've got a few more minutes. With Jose Pedraza and a few more questions. So Cole, did you already ask your question? Because I guess the jet lag has got me all confused, but you just shook your head no. So I will give you that opportunity right now. Cole, please unmute yourself and ask that question. Cole, you coming to us from Canada?
Yeah, that's right, Toronto. Thank you, Evan, for letting me join.
Yeah. Well, as I said last time I went to Canada, your country gave me COVID, so we're not a big fan right now. Yeah, Cole, exactly. No, but Cole, but we're ready. We're recovered and ready to go.
Evan, before I ask Jose my question, I just want to mention I think I also got it at the same event that you got it from.
Well, I guess I'm just going to blame you for giving me COVID, even though I have no scientific proof that happened. Cole, please go ahead. Please go ahead when ready, my friend.
Jose, you fought multiple world-class opponents. I just want to know, before the fight, where do you think Ramirez ranks amongst them? Gardy?
Yeah, Gardy.
Hold on 1 second. Let's get Gardy. I got on. Gardy actually muted himself. Gardy, there?
Now we're back.
There we're. He got bored with my COVID story, so he decided not to translate. Go ahead.
Exactly. Hey, so Jose, has peleado con varios peleadores de calibre mundial. ¿Dónde piensas que Jose Ramírez está rankeado en esa conversación?
Wow, Ramírez está en el top de la división, en el top de esos grandes boxeadores. Así que, mira, yo estoy también en esa élite, en esos boxeadores grandes, así que esto va a ser una gran pelea.
Ramirez is definitely an elite fighter. He's one of the best fighters in the division, one of the best fighters that I have faced. But I'm also in that elite part of the division. So I'm sure this is going to be a great fight.
And my last question, we mentioned your jump up in divisions. Is 140 the peak, or can you see yourself also going up to 147?
Hablando de las divisiones, ¿sientes que 140 es tu mejor división o te ves en algún momento quizás subiendo a 147?
Mira, es algo que no me veo en 147, ya que las 130 me quitaron mucho tiempo. Estuve muchos años en las 130 libras y en las 140, pues las 147 no me veo. Creo que esta es mi división, mi mejor división. Yo diría que ahora, ¿verdad? Que sería la mejor división que estoy peleando y creo que me quedo en esta división, pero quién sabe. Uno nunca sabe, ¿verdad? Los retos que se pueda proponer.
I don't see myself right now moving up to 137. I feel like when I was at 130, it took me a lot of time. It took me a lot of time from my career. I spent way too much time at 130. So I feel like right now the best division for me is going to be 140. That's where I feel the best. And, but at the end of the day, who knows? Who knows what kind of challenge could present itself, and I could take it. But as right now, I don't see myself at 147.
Awesome. Thank you, Jose. It's been a pleasure. Good luck.
Thank you, Cole. Thank you. And again, a reminder, we got a couple more minutes with Jose Pedraza actually, Jose Carlos Ramirez has entered the waiting room. So I'm gonna close it up by this. Jose, any final thoughts to your fans in Puerto Rico and your fans in America as we approach fight week and certainly one of the biggest fights of your career?
Jose, ¿algún mensaje final que quieras enviar a los fanáticos, a los medios, a los fanáticos de Estados Unidos antes de la semana de la pelea?
Claro que sí, mira, que todos sean bienvenidos a esta gran cartelera, que sea del disfrute de todos los fanáticos. Así que muchas gracias también por el apoyo que siempre me dan a mí como puertorriqueño, ¿verdad? Y como fanático del boxeo. Gracias por el apoyo que siempre dan al fanático del boxeo. Así que desencita.
I want to thank everyone for the support. I hope everyone enjoys this great fight that between me and Ramirez is going to be a great fight. And I hope everyone tunes in.
Thank you very much to Jose Pedraza. And now we are joined by the former unified 140-pound champion of the world, who is making his long-anticipated return to the ring, and Jose Ramirez. Jose, before we get to the questions, I want to start off with this. Since the last time you fought in Fresno, well, first, I think it should be noted that Jose Ramirez has headlined at the Save Mart Center 5 times in his career. Over 65,000 fans combined have gone through the turnstiles in his 5 headlining appearances at Save Mart Center. Certainly one of the top draws in North America. So with that preface, I ask you, Jose, it's been a few years since you've headlined at Save Mart Center. You've had a couple fights delayed due to COVID. You've had to fight in a bubble. You're coming off obviously your last performance in limited capacity at Virgin Hotels in front of 1,000 people. So with that being said, Jose, how excited are you to not only return, but to do so in front of the fans that have supported you your entire career? Yep.
Yes. It's always quite an honor, to be honest, to fight in Fresno. The atmosphere there, it's second to none. People really support boxing. People really support me, not just for the boxer that I am, but also for the person that I am. And it's not just Fresno, but it's the combination of all the small communities, all the real communities that make Central California strong. And it motivates me. It motivates me to another level, to push myself past my own limits sometimes. And it's always a great show, and I'm looking forward to it.
And it should be clear, yes, Jose is from Avenal, which is a farming community about 45 minutes to an hour outside of Fresno. And whenever he's introduced, he always makes sure he lets us know when he introduced me, it says, proudly representing the entire Central Valley. So that is certainly crystal clear every time you enter the ring, Jose. And I think it's only fitting. The first question for Jose Ramirez comes from the 5'9", Derek Van Vleck. Derek, please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Morning, Jose. How you doing?
Good, Derek. How's it going?
Good. It's going to be great to seeing you in Fresno again. Now, you had said in the past that because of COVID and all of the fights that have been rescheduled for you, I believe 5 times, and then you had the O'Connor fight before that just canceled right before you were supposed to step into the ring. You said that tested your motivation and your love for the sport. I've read a couple of interviews that you've done. You've said that this loss has kind of rejuvenated you and that you had to look at some of the mistakes. 2-part question. 1, are those mistakes kind of things that you did in the ring or out of the ring preparing? And how glad are you going to be stepping into that ring, hearing 15,000 screaming fans for you and be able to look down and see your family ringside again?
Yeah, that's a great question. The first one, I think both. I think outside of the ring, I learned a lot to face adversity outside the ring. Having the fight postponed many times, the training throughout the whole year, and not being rewarded. It was different. It was a new experience. It was something that it was new for me. So, you could say I was. I had a low experience on that, and I didn't have too much experience. So I learned how to more of the mental part to come across that, and to stay focused and to not be distracted. And then, of course, a lot of mistakes inside the ring. One, I was fighting too nice against Josh Taylor. He took advantage of that. He took advantage of the clinching. There was some things that I did wrong there. I could have been a little bit more aggressive, and of course, I could have protected myself and probably been more careful and things like that. But I learned a lot from me as a fighter, to be able to get back up and finish a fight that strong, and go out 12 rounds. It showed me who the fighter that I am. But definitely there's small little things I need to work on and that I focus on. And part of it is, going back to my amateur style, and bringing that back to the professional boxing, such as, hitting and I'll get hit, being more in my rhythm. Because if you see the fight, when I every time when you see me get in my good rhythm and I'm in and out, using my speed, using my angles, I'm hard to to get touched, and I push my opponents always to the ropes, and they respect me every time I show that type of boxing, and it's when I get a little flat-footed, it's when I start, just kind of trying to be the macho man, where sometimes I get hit, and I plan to kind of balance that a little bit better, and I just become one style fighter.
Thank you very much. Oh, sorry.
For your second question, it's I'm excited. The family is very excited. Everyone that I care for, that I love so much, that I've heard, they're very composed, and so am I. I'm very composed, and I just can't wait to just, it still feels like, there's so much I'm focused on right now. My weight, the finishing touches in my preparation. But I know the time will come when I'm, walking into that ring, and I just can't. I'm excited.
Thank you very much. Next, we go to Keith Eidick. Keith, please unmute yourself and go ahead when ready.
Jose, can you break down for us, without giving away your game plan or anything, of course, what makes Pedraza such a complex opponent? Because he's obviously a versatile fighter who has given so many top-level fighters problems.
Yeah, he's a fighter that could box very, very well. Seems to fight behind his jab, and he switches stance. He's a fighter that switches stance from a southpaw to an orthodox, and so he's gonna try to be tricky. But I think once we're in the ring, I'm gonna see how I could overwhelm him with my speed. Again, my power, my size, and hopefully, I could put him behind the ropes, and it's when you put a fighter on the ropes, it's hard for them to do all that.
Jose, what does beating a fighter as good as Pedraza, a guy with his resume, do to reestablish yourself after obviously it was a very a tough loss for you to deal with, of course?
Pedraza is, he's one of the best 140 pounders, so it just keeps me in this level. It just reminds me that I belong at this level of boxing in the 140 pounds, and I'm only 29 years old, so I feel like there's so much I could still learn from the sport. There's so much I would like to do in the sport of boxing, and to be honest, I think the best is yet to come, and there's always fighters that after a defeat they learn so much, they become a whole different fighter, and I hope to become one of those fighters that you guys could see that is still very hungry and very motivated to learn, and has learned from his mistakes, and I plan to show all that, and move on to better things, and either chase for that rematch, fight for a world title after this fight, and or move to the 147 pound division, because I've been in the 140 division all my career, and I think there's a point that I feel sometimes that if I let my body develop, I might be a stronger, a better fighter. The speed. I sparred a lot of 147 and 154 pounders throughout my career, and when I spar 140 pounders, the speed is very significant. And although the 147 pounders are a little bit bigger, they don't. The snap and the speed at 140 and 135 are always sometimes a little bit more complicated, and it slows down as the bigger the weight class. With the snap, with the obviously the punches feel heavier, but the snap, what could hurt someone, it kind of slows down as the weight classes go up, and and I feel like my speed, my size, I could probably become a very good welterweight, and so I plan to move to the 147 division in the near future. But I would like to give it a try and try to become a world champion at 140 before I do that.
Jose, I just have one last thing for you. Obviously, Josh is fighting in 2 days against Jack Catterall. I was wondering if you could tell us your opinion of that fight, who will win and why.
To be quite honest, I believe Josh said he was going to win. I just think he's the better fighter overall throughout the whole board. And but yeah, it's a good fight. I'm focused on my fight right now. I'm not interested in the outcome of that fight. I just know that I would like to earn my way to a rematch, and I think it's going to be exciting if I get that opportunity to fight him again. And although he says, to his eyes, that the fight was his way throughout the whole fight, it wasn't. The first half of the fight, the first 5 rounds, I felt like I started pushing him, putting him behind the ropes. I don't think he's ever been in that situation throughout his career, and it was a fight that I let go of my hands and into control and took advantage of that. But I finished the fight strong, still believing we won some rounds at the end of the 3/4 of the fight. I know in the rematch it could be. There's been fights that end with a knockout that get a rematch. There's been a fight that's been more one-sided that get the rematch, and I know that I'll be ready for that fight if it was to come my way. And that's the fight I want to chase, but I want to earn it. I don't want to lie to my fans. I don't want to say, hey, he's ducking me or nothing like that. I want to definitely earn it the right way. I believe Top Rank will do a great job with my career. They've always done it. The whole PR, the whole group, the whole family at Top Rank has always supported my career. So I know they believe in me. I know that they believe I'm capable of doing well if that rematch was to come. So I'm excited for those fights. That's why I want to go out there and really showcase my talent and my best, and I'm excited for that.
Thank you very much. We're going to go to Salvador. Before we go to Salvador, Jose, and as you know, you can watch Josh's fight on ESPN Plus. You said you didn't have much of a rooting interest, but obviously, if you want a rematch, you would have to root for him to win. So, yeah.
No, like I said, I believe he'll win. I really don't care how he looks, or because Jack Catterall is. I don't believe he's the fighter that I am. But I hope he does win. I hope he keeps the titles. I hope that they stay with Top Rank, and hopefully we make that fight happen.
So listen, Jose, you get that ESPN Plus app ready, smartphone, TV. As you know, there are many ways to watch boxing on ESPN Plus.
Yeah.
Because I never mention how much ESPN Plus is amazing ever. Salvador, please go ahead when ready, my friend. Unmute yourself.
Yes.
Go ahead, Salvador.
Hola,
Thank
ya
you.
estoy aquí. Listo, gracias. ¿Cómo estás, José? Primero que nada, me da mucho gusto saludarte. Te veo bien enfocado, motivado para este regreso al ring.
Sí, un saludo, Salvador. No, así es. Me siento muy motivado. Yo creo que ya era hora de regresar y gracias a Dios tuvimos un buen campamento. La verdad, lo disfruté mucho. He estado disfrutando toda esta experiencia de regresar y hacerlo por la familia, hacerlo por mí, por la gente que me ha apoyado. Y me da gusto saber de este campamento, de saber cuánto yo quiero el deporte del boxeo y cuánto lo amo. En el guanteo lo ha disfrutado bastante y eso es una señal que estoy motivado y que tengo muchos años más para demostrar y aprender más en este deporte.
Gardy, ¿quieres ayudarme o le seguimos?
Chava?
Oh, I just asking for Gardy if he wants
hold on. I
translate
think Gardy muted himself.
I'm ready to go.
Gardy, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
When I mute myself, I have to have Evan give me permission back.
Yes, I don't trust Guardy Lopez with the controls. Obviously, no.
Hey,
Please go ahead.
The question was, how do you feel of finally coming back? And Jose said that this is the time to come back. You know, he feels well, he's sparring well, he's enjoying the sport again, he has the love for boxing again, and he's just looking to look great in the ring.
Perfecto. José, en un ejercicio de sinceridad que bien contestabas a mis compañeros, decías por ahí que habías cambiado algunas cosas, que te habías equivocado en otras. ¿Qué hábitos, por ejemplo, para darnos cuenta de ello, qué hábitos, por ejemplo, quitaste de lo que habías hecho hasta antes de esta pelea con Josh Taylor?
You have mentioned that you have made some changes leading up to these fights and fixed some errors that you were making. What are the changes and what are the errors that you made on the Taylor fight?
Sí, pues yo creo que en el ring, en la defensa, ¿no? Atacaba y cuando me detuvía, se me olvidaba de mi defensa y también como que perdí un poquito la enfocación y de demostrar la hambre que tenía yo cuando estaba en esa pelea. Y él aprovechó bien durante el 7 round, él aprovechó y de ahí ya tomó el control un poquito de la pelea y pues claro, yo después de la caída pues me estaba recuperando todavía y peleando lo mejor que podía, pero fue un golpe que me conectó bien. Obviamente yo sentí que era tiempo para tomar un paso para atrás y bajé la guardia y me dejé pegar, ¿no? Es una pelea que yo creo que me estaba yendo a mi favor. En el sexto asalto tuve un flash knockdown, entré yo muy confiado porque como les dije, yo sentía que ya estaba agarrando este ritmo de, así como lo hice con Maurice Hooker, ya lo estaba quebrando después del cuarto, quinto round, me estaba respetando bastante y yo sentía que la pelea era para mí. Y todos los que saben, todos los boxeadores que han peleado saben el lenguaje del cuerpo. Y Mike García, todos me lo dijeron, o sea, la pelea estaba a tu favor después del quinto round. Simplemente la dejé yo de mis manos. Y ya cuando yo duré asaltos en recuperar, pues eran asaltos que no había mucha acción, pero tal vez se lo estaban dando a él, simplemente porque yo me estaba recuperando.
Claro.
Ya los últimos el 11, el 12, el 10, el 11 y el 12, yo creo que yo terminé también fuerte y gané uno de esos asaltos. La pelea estaba muy cerrada. Yo creo que del quinto round, yo creo que nomás había perdido yo un asalto de los primeros 5 rounds, para serte sincero. Y pues ahí aprendí que en ese nivel hay que estar bien enfocado siempre en la defensa, entrar y salir, conectar y no dejar que te conecten. Estoy trabajando bastante en la defensa. Mucho ritmo, mucho quebrando la cintura. Y también me ha preparado muy bien afuera, menos entrevistas, menos distracciones, menos ¿cómo te diré? Menos presión. Me ha dedicado mucho a mi familia, ha disfrutado la dieta del campamento, me ha enfocado mucho en mi dieta para hacer el peso mucho mejor. Yo creo que soy una persona muy grande en las 140 libras, donde a veces las últimas 2 peleas, porque por la pandemia ha estado yo entrenando casi todo el año y ha dejado mucho en el gimnasio. Y cuando es hora de la pelea, siento el cuerpo más cansado que otras veces. Esta vez me enfoqué mucho en mi peso, en hacer las cosas mejor y tener un mejor físico para la pelea.
One of the things that I have focused on correcting for this fight was the mistake of, my defense. At times, I got confident during the fight because I felt like I was dominating the first 5 rounds, and he connected me with a good punch, and I had a flash knockdown on the sixth round. After that, I came back, and in the 7th round, when the referee was breaking us, I took a step back and not focusing on my defense, and he connected me with a good punch. So it took me a while to recover from that second knockdown. And even though there was not that many action, Maybe they were giving him some rounds, but I feel like it was a super close fight. Other than working on my defense, outside of the ring, outside of the gym, I focus, in my family and in my diet. I don't have that much pressure anymore. I haven't done that much media for this camp. And, just in the fight with Hooker, I felt like I was breaking him down and, little by little, until the point where he connected me in the 6th and 7th round.
Gary, that was the best piece of translating I've had. I mean, I was half expecting Gary to be like, I expected this is going to be a good fight, and that piece of translating, Gary, that was the best piece of translating I've ever seen you do. Yeah, and there's a big commotion out here in Scotland because there's free beer in the hotel hallways. I guess we were in Scotland, so yeah, it is fight week. Although they do know how to get down like that in Fresno and the Central Valley as well, as I've been to many. What's that? Cuyahoga Sequoia, my coworker just told me. So a shout out to them. Next question, Mike Rueda. Speaking of the Central Valley, we'll go back to the Central Valley to Mike Rueda. Please unmute yourself, Mike.
Thank you. Hey, Jose, how you doing?
Good, Mike. How's it going?
Good. A couple quick questions. First one, I spoke with Robert Garcia last week. Interviewed him, and it kind of leads to your point that you're talking about fighting at home. He said fighting in Fresno, the atmosphere is really electric and is different than fighting in other places. Obviously, you fought in China, New York, Vegas, Texas. When you come back home, do you really feel that difference in the atmospheres compared to when you have fought in other places or seen other fights in other locations?
Yeah, it's just fighting in the ring in front of a big, fan base, and the Hispanics are always going to turn out, and the Hispanics will always show support for the sport of boxing, and they will have a great time doing so. And in Fresno, being a new boxing market, it just it gives me so much excitement to know how well they know how to support the sport of boxing, because before me there wasn't too many fights in Fresno, and so it's like, who taught them how to be great fans? It's like, how do they get that experience to go out there and give each other a great atmosphere, And I've spoken to many of the commissioners that have worked in many fights in Las Vegas, big fights in Las Vegas, big fights in Texas, and in different parts of the country and the world, and they themselves enjoy, working in Fresno because they never see nothing like it. And I think it's because of the unity in the Central Valley. It's a family-oriented communities. The family-oriented communities that are families that take their kids and their grandfathers. There's no age limit. You see kids and you see grandparents who are looking forward to watching me fight and watching me perform. I could honestly say that when it comes to social media, I think my biggest fan base are people that don't have social media. My biggest fans are people who I get messages from their grandkids saying that how much I'm loved by their grandfather and how they bring me up in their dinner tables as a proud example of the Central Valley. And that right there makes me extremely motivated. So I know we have the future of the generation of kids watching me and are excited. And also I have the great, the grandparents and the great grandparents that are a generation that taught us many that gave us many advices, So I have them watching me. So that it's a crowd that I see in Fresno that really makes me feel good. It makes me feel proud about the Central Valley.
Definitely. And I agree with that. I see that all the time for when you've done appearances at, stores or things like that. It's always the older generation that's there, first people in line, and it's the younger people getting there later on, and it's them talking to you first. So, yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. And second question, with Pedraza, obviously you weren't going to fight someone, that could be considered an easy touch as your comeback fight. As you said, you want to earn it. How did you land on Pedraza, and did you watch his last fight that made you say, that's the guy I want to come back against?
Yeah, Pedraza, definitely. Pedraza has done really well in his last couple of fights. He's shown so much development in the 140 division. So I know in order to stay at my best, I got to face the best, and to push myself and to be ready for, say, Josh Taylor rematch. I have to fight this type of fights. I can't just get to the world title fights, taking an easy way, So he was available. I also mentioned to my manager Rick that if Jose Cepeda was available, that'd be a great fight too that the fans want to watch. But Jose Cepeda had a fight with Josue Vargas out of New York, and he earned a good vacation after the fight. But it's still, those fights are still possible in the near future. There's also Arnold Barbosa, who's also a great 140 pounder. I'm not sure his plans are, but it seems to me that he's eyeing Teofimo Lopez as Teofimo moves to 140. But all those guys were in my radar. Pedraza just was available, and it was a fight that got made really, really easy, simple. Didn't take too much of the negotiation. So, it's just the top rank has the top junior welterweights in the world. So there's it's a good weight class to be in, and it's a good company to be a part of right now.
Thank you very much. We only got a few more minutes with Jose, so we'll get a couple more questions and then get the champ out of here. Go back to Central Valley. Andre Covington. I believe Andre's from the Central Valley. If you're not Andre, my apologies. I think he is. Andre, please unmute yourself and go ahead. Andre?
Yeah, thank you, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you. Yes, he is from the Central Valley. I was right. Andre, please go ahead.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for having me. What's up, champ? Always good to see you. I will say this, knowing you and knowing the pressure that you felt, you talked about pressure early on when you were undefeated. I remember being at a dinner with you, and we were roasting you and having some fun, and you got emotional talking about the pressure that you were under, and you felt like, you didn't want to lose because you didn't want to disappoint not only your family, but your fans. I saw that, knowing you since you were a little guy, man, and becoming champion. And being close to you in that regard, I felt you that night. And I felt that pressure, and you just spoke on it. So it kind of confirmed. And I had a conversation with Bernard Hopkins. We talked on the phone for about 2 hours. He said one of the best things that happened to him in his career is when he lost to Roy Jones Jr. Because that undefeated, trying to hold on to that, it lifted a weight off of him. And he went on to win a long time after that. So he went on to be great in the Hall of Famer. Having that L on your record and that pressure, just speak on that, how you felt before and after.
Yeah, so you're right. And I'm glad you do remember that dinner. And it's my whole career. I feel like, or my whole life, I feel like I've been, pushing myself so much to give so much back to my family, right, for everything they've done, the way they migrated from Mexico to give us a better beginning. I didn't want my father to be disappointed. I wanted us to move forward. Then I started meeting a lot of great families in the community of Avenal, where I was raised, and and I wanted to do so much for them and the community as well. And be a good role model for the kids. And it's based on the respect that I had. But then, as I turned professional, I had that killer instinct, man. I felt like I was untouchable, and I was going through my opponents. And I never fought a guy with a losing record, even as a prospect, when I first began my professional career. I always, fought great competition, and I was going through them until, you come to a point where you've done so much, and you realize that the reward is not what you thought it was going to be. And I'm not talking about financial reward, Dre, because I made great money in my professional career. I've invested my money very well. I've done very good things. I started my father company, and he's doing very well for himself. Now he's his own boss. My whole family now, my media family, we have they have a company that they focus on, and I got my career that I focus on. And if the day was to happen that I, stop boxing, I'm gonna be okay for the rest of my life financially. But I was thinking more of the reward of appreciation of knowing that that I started to feel like everything I've done was for what reason, and I started doubting myself a little bit, but then big fights started happening, and I started winning those fights, and those fights got closer. They were not as easy, and then the fan base, they were a little skeptical, and there were some had opinions about other fighters being better, and things like that, right? So I continue staying focused and push myself, and knowing that I'm a great fighter. To be honest, I think I'm probably the best, or one of the best 140 pounders in the world, but I let that kind of get to me. I guess I was unexperienced with the way I handle the outside comments, and sometimes you feel like you're thick-skinned. Sometimes you feel like you have a great family, a great foundation, that you won't let that bother you, but it gets to you because we're humans, and we got emotions, and I think it was a mix of everything that really put that pressure on me to be so afraid to lose because I was unaware of the outcome. But now that it happened, and they saw, my biggest fans, my family, my biggest supporters, they saw the way I got back up in my last fight, the way I finished the fight. They saw that. They saw a true warrior. They saw a true champion in me, and it wasn't too bad. Other things that I fear wasn't too bad. After the fight, I was embarrassed to walk outside. I was embarrassed to leave the house, and I would just stay in my smaller circle and focus on my son and my newborn daughter. But the people that have been there for me since day one, they never left. My family never left, my team never left, and that made me feel good. That itself was a beautiful feeling, because I didn't lose nothing that I thought I was gonna lose, right? Yeah, some fans maybe turn away and stuff like that, but the things that matter to me, things that make me the person who I am, never left. So that gave me that satisfaction feeling, and now I'm able to train and move on. Excited that I have a solid team, and that I'm confident that with me and my team, we're ready to take over the world. And I feel like I have a great team with me, and I'm able to do what I do at my best now, without that pressure, without that fear of all the possibilities that were hunting my mind at times. So that's where I'm at, man. That's where I'm at, and I'm at the gym. No one has seen this Jose Ramirez in a long time that they're seeing now in the sparring stations. Guys that are coming from all over the Los Angeles area, welterweights, super welterweights, junior middleweights. They're coming to spar me. They're like, man, Jose, you're the hardest 140 pounder I've ever sparred, and I could see their excitement in the gym to see a fighter like me right now, the way I'm training, the way I'm looking. It's like they can't wait to show me off. So I hope to make them proud next weekend.
I think that is a great sentiment to end this call on. Again, my apologies to everyone who couldn't ask a question. We only have so much time, and we had so many questions. I will send out the video of this shortly to everybody who participated, and feel free to use that on your channels as well. So again, it all goes down next Friday, March 4th at Save Mart Center in Fresno, California. We expect a crowd of, 15,000 at least, because it's every time Jose Ramirez fights, there's a crowd that big. As I mentioned, Richard Torres Jr. Will make his professional debut just before Jose fights. A co-feature with Joet Gonzalez against Joe Santisima. The return of Gabe Flores Jr. We've got Carlos Balderas, Javier Martinez, Charlie Sheehy, Antonio Morelos, a few of whom are stablemates in Robert Garcia's gym with Jose. So again, we thank everybody for joining us today. We hope to see many of you in Fresno next week. And if you cannot make it to Fresno, you can watch it live and exclusively on ESPN Plus. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Jose. And we will see you next week, my friend.
Thank you, Evan.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay,
have a good one.
Take care. Okay,
Take care, guys.